Maniacs, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be reacting to 6 terrifying ghost EVP recordings. Very excited about this. EVPs are definitely something that I truly have a fun time with. I definitely prefer doing EVPs, voice recorders, electric voice phenomenons, over the phone apps any day. So yeah. So I'm actually kind of curious to see what's caught on these EVPs. So guys, if you like this type of content, want some more content like this, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, because we're on our way to 30,000 subscribers. If you guys want to help me get there faster, you know what to do. Demonic Media Scream comes through. It does give you chills. It makes your hair stand up. And that's one of the reasons why I decided, you know what, F it, let's go ahead and watch. Scary Mysteries by New Dawn Films. Is this volume all the way up? Yes, it is.
Some people say there's no such thing as ghosts. Others say some of the most convincing evidence that spirits do walk among us are through electronic voice phenomena recordings, otherwise known as EVPs. If you've never heard a ghost communicate before, you're about to. These are 6 terrifying ghost EVP recordings.
Let's get into it, man.
Number 6, We're Not Dead. In January 2010, the American Paranormal Research Association was conducting a paranormal investigation inside the Linda Vista Community Hospital in Los Angeles, California.
Hell yeah.
The hospital originally opened in 1904 and was prosperous, providing patients with things like butter, eggs, vegetables, poultry, and fresh milk, something no hospital did at the time. In 1924, a fire burned it down, but it was rebuilt and functioned well for decades. But by the 70s, this place began its decline, and soon the neighborhood around it also became less affluent, which affected its funding. This directly led to the decline in the quality of care workers there, as well as doctors. It was officially closed in 1991, and stories about the mistreatment and abuse of patients became rampant.
That's no shock. That's like every facility like this around the world has a history with abuse, just horrible caretakers. I mean, 100% just completely disgusting stuff. I don't know if I've ever heard of this location. To my knowledge, I have not. Might be something to look into more.
After it was closed, the hospital became a center for paranormal investigations and was also used in various Hollywood films. Guards there reported seeing shadows and hearing weird humming sounds and even cries in the night. Those who visit have also said they've been pushed and touched by unseen hands. In particular, there are 3 reported spirits that haunt the hospital. This includes an orderly making the rounds, a little girl seen crying, and a young woman pacing the hallways. When the paranormal researchers conducted their investigations, they were exploring the basement area when they recorded an unusual EVP. They inquired how the spirits were actually connected with the hospital, and surprisingly, they actually got a response. Here is the audio in which you can hear the voice say, "We're not dead."
How are you associated with the hospital? How are you associated with the hospital?
Wow. We're not dead. I wonder if when that fire broke out, how many people died in that fire, right? And unfortunately, with places like this, if there was anybody left inside, I'm not sure if they'd make a big deal about saving everybody. I hate to say that, and I know that's disgusting of me to say, but I feel like there could be a lot of truth to that, because of the way they just treated some of these people back then was just some of the most inhumane ways to treat people. So I wonder if that was residual energy, maybe even saying that, hey, the building's on fire. We're not dead. Could you break down the door and get us out? We're not dead. Help us, right? Just a theory. Just a theory. I could be completely wrong about that. And I don't want to, of course, say that these people could have done something like this. But back then, people were fucked up.
Number 5, I'm Not Done Here. In 2011, paranormal investigators explored the Cafe Sports House in the greater Manchester area. It wasn't always a pub, but was first opened as the Roxy Cinema in July of 1929.
Hell yeah. Pretty cool looking.
The auditorium had a distinctive circular seating area that featured raised seats, and it was capable of accommodating more than 900 people. The Roxy closed down in 1965 and was boarded up for several years before skateboarding became popular, and it was transformed into a skate park. Eventually, it was changed into a squash club, and then into the cafe sports pub that it is today. It has 3 floors, a massive cellar that is now a gym, a bar, and a huge bingo area that has remained fairly the same as before.
Looks like
For
a
a long
snazzy
time,
place.
those who have explored and occupied the place have reported hearing noises coming up from inside the cellar. Shadows have also been seen in another hot spot around the corridors near the bathrooms, and a mysterious man has been spotted close to the end area of the bar. Investigators have reported unusual phenomena while inside, including seeing moving objects like punching bags swinging on their own, and even tables levitating into the air. Perhaps the most controversial and terrifying experiences was when investigators captured an EVP in 2011. It was recorded while investigators explored the pub, and in it you can hear a whispering voice telling the researchers that they are still in fact a presence in the establishment. The people standing next to the recorder at the time did not hear anything at all.
That looks like Zach Bagans. For a second, it looked like Zach Bagans.
And it wasn't until it was examined after that the whisper was finally heard. Here it is so you can judge for yourself.
Why did it say it like that? I'm not done here. Why did it say it like that? That's freaky.
Number 4.
It could be legitimate, but that one actually felt like if it was any sort, like it could be fake because of how creepy it sounded. I could only just see like some guy just sitting there like talking in front of a microphone, just making that up. I'm not done here. Felt really over the top when it comes to like scary EVPs. Most of the time when you get a normal EVP, it's just a normal voice talking, right? But that actually sounded like it, or it could have been demonic or just really like a pissed off spirit.
Help us. Sitting on more than 1,000 acres of farmland, the Athens Lunatic Asylum, otherwise dubbed as the Ridges, has always been considered controversial and haunted. In Ohio, on January 9, 1874, the asylum first opened its doors, and throughout the years has welcomed thousands of patients. The main building alone had 544 rooms, and as time went by, many more areas were added as the building was expanded. Some of the later additions included a tuberculosis ward, gymnasium, and even a dairy barn. The building was designed so that the less severe patients were placed near the central area where they could receive interaction and socialize. Meanwhile, those who were more severe were relegated to the outer fringes of the building, far away from the exits and entrances.
Right, where they're isolated.
However, as more people started coming in, family members were dropping off, not only relatives with illnesses, but also their elderly. As overcrowding became an issue, so did the quality control, and the care soon declined. Doctors and caregivers began to resort to primitive techniques, including shock therapy, water therapy, and transorbital lobotomies. These were some of the most dangerous treatments conducted, and they resulted in many deaths. Moreover, the living conditions were also horrifying, with some patients left restrained for months or even years at a time.
Horrible.
With such a long and troubled history, it's no surprise the Ridges is dubbed as one of the most haunted places in the United States. Those who have explored the area report seeing a ghost dubbed as Mary walking the halls late at night. Reports also come in of people standing behind them when they're looking in a mirror. The most famous story, however, is that of a female patient named Margaret, who went missing and was later found dead in an abandoned ward. She was found in the nude and determined to have died of heart failure. However, it took nearly a month before her body was ever even found. She was badly decomposed at that point, and it had melted into the floor, leaving a stain that some say is still present today.
Holy shit.
More than just
I mean, I'd assume that's the picture. That is effed up. Oh my gosh.
a paranormal experience, investigators also managed to capture several EVPs. In this first one, you can hear a man scream, and this was recorded in a former padded room at the asylum.
Yeah, some of it. They used to have pads and stuff in there. Yeah, some of it. They used to have pads and stuff in there.
Sounds like a guy like actually like pissed off, like ah, like trying to like scream at them, like get away from me kind of thing, like ah. What it sounded like to me. That's pretty weird. That's weird. Okay.
This next one is a woman saying, "Will you help us?" And you can clearly hear it. We'll play it at regular speed and then enhance so you can hear it even better.
Wow, it sounds sad too. Would you help us? Would you help us?
Number 3, Get
Whew.
Out.
Classic Get Out.
Perhaps Dublin's most haunted landmark, the Hellfire Club sits atop Montpellier Hill. The abandoned building has had a long, storied history, and today is a very popular tourist attraction. William Conley initially built it as a personal hunting lodge in 1725. It's said he used the stones from an ancient burial site to build part of it. After he passed away, the structure was rented out and became known as the Hellfire Club, which was a gathering place for men to partake in lewd and immoral acts. Rumors began to spread that the club was a frequent site of animal sacrifices because the group was involved in satanic rituals. They were also accused of kidnapping a farmer's daughter and even cannibalizing her. But it didn't stop there. People began to tell stories about how the group drank non-stop and even made a pact with the devil himself, and it's because of this that stories of the paranormal are so high at this location.
Yeah, Hellfire Club.
Today, the stories about Hellfire Club and the countless hauntings that have beset the structure since it was abandoned still persist. Paranormal investigators who visit here talk of many strange occurrences, one of the most unsettling of which is the fact that actual EVP recordings
Ghost
have been
Adventures again.
captured by investigators while exploring the interior. The
Sorry, I
most
gotta pause
famous
it.
Was captured by the
I gotta pause it because like someone like first off, someone's blowing my phone up like crazy. It's vibrating like nonstop. But let me go back. Let me go back and okay, it was just someone on Snapchat blowing me up. But like I just saw something that kind of got my attention. I mean, I think it would catch anybody's attention. But it said Putin just threatened 14 places in the United States. And I'm sitting there like, why is my phone blowing up at the same time of me reading that? So I actually had to check. I'm like, are the sirens going to go off any second? Like, seriously, this is kind of scary. So I wanted to pause that. It might be the scariest thing that's happened so far this video. Whew. Not sure if it's true or not, but it's a headline, so it might have been true.
Kilkenny Investigative Paranormal Society. The group captured a voice on a recording telling the investigators to get out. It's been enhanced so you can hear it well, and it will send chills down your spine.
It's like a dog. Shit. Get out. Mm-mm. You can hear the echo off the wall, too.
Number 2, I'm Not Crazy. The village Salon is part of a set of historic buildings that stand in the heart of Grand Cane, Louisiana. Back in the 1800s, the set of buildings once served as a barber shop and even functioned as a courthouse that managed small fines. Employees of the Salon have reported several instances where they've witnessed poltergeist activity on the premises. They would constantly see moving items, electronic devices turning on and off, clothes hampers being flipped, and more. Amy, who's the owner of the salon, says she doesn't feel threatened by the spirit or hauntings,
That's a plus.
and even nicknamed the presence, calling her Brenda. A set of paranormal investigators conducted research there and said they did feel as if they were not alone. For the first few minutes after starting, they audibly heard the sound of what seemed to be a marble falling and rolling on the floor, but when they looked, they couldn't find anything or see any object. Moreover, they captured what seems to be a very clear EVP of a female saying, "I'm not crazy."
Let's hear it.
EVPs, or electronic voice phenomena, are often classified in different ways depending on how audible they are. This particular one is in Class A because it's so crisp and one of the clearest EVP recordings you'll hear.
You'd probably think it's one of them talking, yeah. Sure. That is clear. Holy shit.
But different people have different stages of.
Yeah, it's probably the clearest one so far. It sounds like a person, yeah. I'm not crazy.
Different people have different stages of.
Surprised that's not number one. What do you got for number one, my dude?
Number 1, get out. Help us.
Get out, help us. Queen Mary.
One of the most famous haunted ships ever known is that of the Queen Mary.
Yeah.
It was first built in the 1930s and is larger in size when compared to the Titanic. Throughout its history, it served as a transport luxury liner and even a World War II ship before it was eventually retired. Over the years, the Queen Mary has seen countless deaths. Some of the more famous ones include that of John Henry, who was a young man that died when he was trampled to death after trying to flee a fire. It's said that various bright lights and knocking can be heard in the engine room, and that this is believed to be John. Meanwhile, in the pool area, several guests and investigators have seen the apparitions of a little girl who unfortunately died while sliding through the banister when a wave upset her course and she ended up breaking her neck. Her ghost is said to haunt the area.
Oh God,
she wanders around looking
it's a fucked up image to use of a little innocent kid.
for her doll and mummy. In addition, 2 other women died in the same area, and guests also regularly see them. One of the most brutal deaths, though, was that of a cook who was murdered because the troops didn't like the meals he prepared. He was stuffed inside the oven and burned alive, and his desperate screams can still be heard to this day in the ship's kitchen.
I don't know if I've heard that story, and if I have, it's not like coming to me. I feel like I would have heard that story. Remember hearing that story? That's pretty effed up. They actually killed him because they didn't like his cooking.
Today, the Queen Mary is permanently decommissioned and has been transformed into a hotel and museum, with ghost tours available for those willing to brave the haunted vessel. And indeed, ghost hunters and paranormal investigators report that a multitude of apparitions and sightings have been seen throughout. In one instance, they caught an EVP when the American Paranormal Research Association searched through the first-class pool area and captured the voice of a girl saying, "Get out and help us." As mentioned, the pool area is notoriously haunted, and guests have repeatedly seen,
It's like the same image of the same little kid.
felt, and heard apparitions in the area. What's interesting about this one is that the investigators actually hear the voice in real time, which sounds like a young girl.
Come closer.
It said it twice. Like, it said literally, get out, and then help us. Right there. That is awesome. That's awesome.
So there were 6 terrifying ghost EVP recordings. Hauntings and apparitions are often a personal experience, just stories you hear about without actually seeing any evidence. But capturing EVPs are unique as they can be shared with anyone willing to listen and serve as strong proof that in the end, there is life after death.
Yeah, but if you don't have any evidence or video evidence, I mean, it could be easily faked too. I mean, that's just the scary part and the sad part about it too, is that the EVPs are not hard to fake. All you have to have is a recorder, someone else whisper into it, and all of a sudden you have an EVP said to you. And again, I believe in EVPs because I've actually heard them, and I know for a fact that there was nobody else there. So I have no problem with believing. Hopefully, many of these actually. That last one that was pretty creepy, but the one before that was probably the most clear. I'm not crazy. That was pretty crazy in itself. Yeah, with EVPs, I mean, truly do love it when you actually catch something on them. It doesn't happen as often as I see most paranormal investigation crews catch them. In real life, it doesn't happen as often, but I guess it all depends on the location you're at, too. It just is what it is. But let me know what you guys think down below. Which one was probably the best one to you? I'd probably say the number one was probably the best one. I mean, literally the get out, and then help us. That was probably the best one, honestly. So, yeah, made it very easy. But let me know what you guys think down below. Again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I will do more of these reactions if you guys so like them, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care.